A golf swing can be beautiful, effective, smooth, or just downright ugly. But what if I told you that the greatest golfer in recent times also has one of the weirdest and most unconventional swings that you've ever seen? Of course, we're talking about Scottie Scheffler. You're probably familiar with his ball striking, his humble personality, or how much he has been winning this year. But how much do you know about where he came from, and where on earth he learned to swing a golf club? Well, it all started 28 short years ago in Ridgewood, New Jersey. Raised in a Christian family by a stay-at-home dad and a CEO mother, it was their decision just 3 short years later that changed the trajectory of their young son's life. His father, also called Scott, was an avid golfer, and he began to notice that when he left his clubs lying around, Scottie would take an interest in them. In fear that he would damage his expensive irons, he had a genius idea. They got him a set of plastic golf clubs and plastic balls. Little did they know, this would create one of the greatest golfers in modern times. After a move to Dallas, Texas at age 6, he took an early obsession to the next level. He spent the years since receiving his plastic set of clubs, swinging them at every chance he got. Around the house, in the garden, he probably even cuddled them at night. And it was here that he started developing the habit that would make for his unconventional but extremely effective swing. I used to play in the house with a ping pong ball, and those are super spinny. I would learn to curve it from room to room and spin it a lot. That was what was fun for me about the game. But his parents had noticed something. He was getting quite good. He often bragged about his ability to make the ball curve from left to right and right to left, a skill that even adult golfers with adult clubs will never master. His father was curious and got young Scottie a junior set of golf clubs, and to his amazement, he started to become better and better. Even his mother, who had no interest in golf, began to notice the potential that he had and thought it'd be best to get him some real lessons. Receiving his very first tutelage at the Royal Oaks Golf Club, their instructor Randy Smith, an established coach who had helped his client Justin Leonard to an Open Championship victory in 1997. They still work together today, but Scottie's parents initially had to borrow money to secure his membership at the golf club so that he could play and be coached by the now legendary teacher. In a later interview, Scottie mentioned that over the last 20 years, he and Randy had made multiple changes to his swing, but ever since he was a young boy, his feet were something that they never messed with. I think the words that he would use was that it was just kind of the DNA of my swing, and he doesn't want to change what I did to work the ball, and whatever they did change appeared to have worked. He was already a child prodigy at the youth level, winning 75 times on the PGA Junior circuit and competing against his future peers on tour. But just when he started to get real momentum going, nature created a roadblock. By the time he entered high school, Scottie was barely 5 foot tall, but very quickly rose to 6 foot in a quick and rather painful growth spurt. As you can imagine, the rapid growth caused many back injuries for him, stopping him from practicing, playing and competing. He feared that he would fall behind, but as we now know, he definitely didn't. He played golf and basketball throughout his high school years, making the most of his newfound height, eventually reaching 6'3", but golf would still be where his heart would lie, winning 3 individual state titles in a row from 2012 to 2014, matching a record previously set by fellow Texan Jordan Spieth. He also had success in AJGA events and won the US Junior Amateur in 2013. By 2014, he was the top-ranked junior golfer in the country. He was now 17, and he wanted to see how he fared against the best in the world. A young, lanky high schooler took on his biggest challenge yet, making his PGA Tour debut in May of 2014 at the HP Byron Nelson Championship. With his sister caddying for him, he made the cut, and in true Scottie fashion, even sunk a hole-in-one in the 3rd round. He'd ultimately finish in an impressive 4 under par, tying for 22nd place. But the worst part, he wasn't eligible to collect on the $60,000 that he won, due to his amateur status. Little did he know, that'd be pocket change for him only a few years later. He'd graduate from high school and be recruited to play collegiate golf at the University of Texas, where he'd play from 2014 to 2018. He'd helped the team win 3 Big 12 championships and was also named Phil Mickelson Freshman of the Year in 2015. A year later, he'd qualify for his very first US Open. He opened with a first round of 69, but unfortunately shot a second round of 78, leaving him missing out on the cut. A year later, he'd qualify once again. He and Cameron Champ were the only 2 amateurs to make the cut, and Scottie would finish 1 under par, making him the low amateur. After a handful of tournament wins, he'd graduate 3 years later with a bachelor's degree in finance. One of the things that Scottie carries with him to this day is that golf isn't his life. He's still focused on his education, his religion, and much later on, his family. Golf would always come second to that. Even if he was now a golfing prodigy, it only took 1 injury to change the course of his life. But now he had a backup plan in place in case anything went wrong, and it wouldn't be long before he left his mark. On May 26, 2019, Scottie fired a bogey-free 9 under 63, completing the back 9 in 30 and forcing Colombian professional golfer Marcelo Rozo into a playoff after he'd previously led the last 54 holes. He birdied the second extra hole and secured his very first Web.com Tour victory. The tour was renamed to Korn Ferry, and he won his first tournament with a new name with a score of 12 under. He ended the season leading in both finals points and overall points, granting him a fully exempt PGA Tour card for the 2020 season. His first appearance came shortly after, and it was a positive one. Tied with the lead alongside Andrew Landry after 3 rounds, it all came down to the final Sunday. Scottie shot 70, only enough for 3rd place, and 3 shots behind the leader, but it was a positive start. At this point, he was still considered a rookie, but it was here that people had started to recognize his weird swing on a large scale. He was definitely known to anyone who followed golf closely, but now he was in the big leagues, and his footwork was something that left even the most seasoned professionals scratching their heads wondering how on earth he got the ball to go straight. Shortly after in August, he finished tied for 4th in the PGA Championship, placing 4th in a major as a rookie. Not a bad start at all. And a couple of weeks later, he made history, shooting a 12 under 59 at the Northern Trust. His round was the joint second lowest in PGA Tour history, and just the 12th sub-60 round ever. This was enough to name him the PGA Tour Rookie of the Year, but that wasn't even the best part of his 2020 season. Earlier in the year, he finally tied the knot with his wife Meredith, who he had met in high school. The pair are both Catholic, a very important part of Scottie's life. He makes it no secret that he is a very religious man, and even made it a priority to make sure that his caddy shared the same faith. He attends Bible study with his caddy Ted Scott, the same man who we said earlier had made more than the majority of the PGA Tour in the 2024 season, potentially going home with over $2.5 million. Scottie said, "I really want to work with a Christian as my caddy. That's how I try to live my life." 2021 would see more of the same, getting his first runner-up finish in March, being pipped by Billy Horschel in the final. He finished 18th in the Masters, but placed top 10 in the other 3 majors, 8th at the PGA Championship, 7th at the US Open, and 8th at the Open Championship. This was enough to earn him his first ever Ryder Cup appearance, being a captain's pick. The US team went on to win 19-9, and Scottie went 2-0-1, including a win in his Sunday singles match against world number 1 at the time, Jon Rahm. But 2022 was where he really started to come into his own. Swinging his plastic clubs all of those years ago had built up to this season, ready for Scottie to finally reach the potential that his parents saw in him when they saved up their money to get him his first lessons. Safe to say, I think he's able to pay them back now. February 13th would get him his very first PGA Tour title, winning the WM Phoenix Open on the 3rd hole of a sudden death playoff against Patrick Cantley. Only 3 weeks later, he won again at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And guess what? He won again 3 weeks later, taking the title of the WGC Dell Technologies Match Play in Austin, Texas. If it feels like we're repeating ourselves now, believe me, we're only just getting started. The 3rd win of the year took him to world number 1 for the first time. This is the same guy who only started as a rookie in the PGA a year earlier, but that didn't mean anything to him, because by April 10th, he got the thing that he had been working towards all of these years, and the biggest achievement in golf, finally, a major win. And I say finally very loosely. He had only been playing professionally at this point for 4 years. He beat Rory McIlroy at the Masters by a massive 3 strokes and became the 5th golfer in history to enter the Masters tournament as world number 1 and go on to win. It was also his 4th victory of the 2022 season, making him the first golfer since Arnold Palmer to win as many events, including the Masters, in that span of time to begin a season. 4 wins in just 6 starts. He'd unfortunately missed the cut in the PGA Championship, missing it by 2 strokes. His first missed cut in a major since he turned pro, but he didn't let that halt his momentum. A top 2 placing at the US Open, one behind Matt Fitzpatrick, got him right back in the mood to chase titles. He finished the season named as the PGA Tour Player of the Year, and also earning the Jack Nicklaus Award for the first time. 2023 was more of the same, but we will save you the trouble of listening to how many times he won and break it down very quickly. First at the WM Phoenix Open, again. First at the Players Championship, second at the PGA Championship, third in the US Open, and 18 consecutive top 12 finishes, a stream that can only be matched by 2001 Tiger Woods, and a place on the 2023 Ryder Cup team that would ultimately fall to a stacked European team. He led the FedEx standings for a second time. And safe to say that 2024 was an interesting year for Scottie. He won many times, but it wasn't without its controversies, being wrongfully arrested for a misunderstanding outside of the PGA Championship venue where he was just trying to get to his tee time. But at least it creates a meme that will be used in golf forever. I can't imagine his Christian family shares the same excitement. Even after all that, he still shot a 66. He started the year off with a ridiculous 15 under par score in the Arnold Palmer Invitational. The following week, he won the Players' Championship for a second time, becoming the first back-to-back winner in the event's history. In April, he won the Masters again, for the second time in 3 seasons, winning by 4 strokes, leaving the rest of the incredibly stacked field in the dust. This would start to become a theme for the rest of the season. In June, he won the Memorial Tournament for his 5th win of the season, pushing him over the $24 million mark in earnings, breaking the PGA Tour season earnings record. He then claimed his 6th win of the season at the Travelers Championship a month later. As the world number 1 in the world, he qualified as one of the 4 male golfers to represent the United States at the 2024 Paris Olympics. There were question marks around whether golf should even be at the Olympics at all, but nonetheless, it was a tournament and Scottie wanted another win. He tied the course record at Le Golf National with a final round of 62, finishing at 19 under par to win the gold medal. This is even more impressive when you consider that he was 6 strokes behind the lead after the front 9, but then made 6 birdies on the back 9 to win by 1 stroke over Tommy Fleetwood. He's the first golfer ever to be the number 1 in the world and win a gold medal at the same time. It's safe to say that Scottie Scheffler isn't a name that we're going to stop seeing in golf for a very long time. Still only 28 years old, it doesn't seem like he's ever going to stop winning.